Hello, and welcome back to the table with me, Bob, on this lovely little but overcast, sunny, sort of. Hopefully, it'll be sunny later. I doubt it though. Anyway, this sunny, not sunny Sunday afternoon. Before you lies Black Forest, a very heavy, not very heavy, I guess, a heavier game than I tend to like to play, but I do like to enjoy games from designer Uwe Rosenberg, and this is one of them. This is one of his latest. I enjoy his games a lot because they have a lot of thematic integration. And if you know anything about me in my channels and the games that I choose to play here, thematic integration plays a big role in what I choose to play. Because I find it's much easier to learn a game when the rules intrinsically make sense with the mechanics and the theme that you're presenting. I can parse it all. So this is one of those games where I picked this up on a whim at my friendly local game store. I knew about it ahead of time. I have its predecessor. Its predecessor's game is Glass Road. I really enjoy Glass Road. I think it's a phenomenal design. And so to me, when I was approaching this game, I initially didn't back this on crowdfunding because I had Glass Road and I said, I like Glass Road. Glass Road gives me the same story, the same setting. I like the card play. I'd actually thought about streaming Glass Road several times, and I still might. But I thought it might be difficult to show all of the cards because there's a lot of really small print. And even in Glass Road, you'll find as we move around the board, a lot of things won't be sharply in focus because of just how much there is to show. I can't pivot and move the camera around as much as I want. I'll be fixing that in due course as I invest in better, more advanced gear. But for now, as you'll move around, you'll even see that even with all of this iconography, I'm still going to have to explain some things because it won't be crisp and clear. That's because I can't zoom in very far because of how much this stuff is, how much there is to show. But because it's iconography and not text, I think it'll be an easier time to stream it and explain it. At the end of the day, what are we doing in Black Forest? The same thing we're doing in Glass Road. This is set in the 12 to 1300s, the beginning of the era where the Germanic peoples in that area at the time in the Black Forest began making what is now called forest glass. It has this greenish, bluish hue to it that is unmistakable to the region, and it's highly prized even to this day. And in fact, they still make it traditionally. The same methods are in many places used today in that region to make that glass. It hasn't changed a whole lot in the intervening centuries. But this is an attempt to kind of demonstrate the process that it goes through from the beginning with raw materials to the end finished glass and what it takes to actually achieve those things and simulate what life was like in many ways and probably still is. Because what I mean by that is I have my own little, I won't call it a farm. I mean, there are farm-like elements to it, but it's all about production of glass. So you won't find many references to farm animals or farming, but there are things where animals are playing a part. But the crucial part is glass huts that they used where they were actually producing the glass needed to be moved around from time to time because they would frankly deforest an area and exhaust their fuel supply. So they would move and they would reconstruct their huts in new parts of their area. And that's simulated by expanding your area and adding on new forested areas. And what you'll find is the glass hut will move to that new tile to give you that experience of actually picking up shop and moving it. But at the end of the day, what we are doing in this game, as you'll see on the main board here, oh, I have a tile out. That's not going to help you see anything. I was looking at that tile to make sure that my zoom was working. It's working. There, that's actually what I was talking about. So this is the main board, unobstructed now because of that tile. And what you'll find on this is kind of the Germanic countryside. There's little villages dotted around, and there are tradespeople that work in these villages, and we all need to work together as a community. So I am going to be hiring these tradespeople to do certain things for me. Usually it's a version of goods conversion. So I'm gonna show up with some goods and I say, hey, tradesperson, will you take this from me and in exchange give me this? So I'm going to be putting my people out. I have basically 5 people that represent the glass making community in my region. And they're going to be going around to these different towns and hiring, and having them make this kind of conversion for me. And what that ultimately lets me do is I say, I need a certain amount of different types of resources in order to build different buildings on my area. Those buildings will help me do my own goods conversion without having to hire so many tradespeople, different types of conversion to make things easier for me. It will also sometimes even just generate stuff for me. And it's all thematic. All these buildings have thematic tie-in. So it all kind of makes sense why I would be doing that. For example, I could build this trout fishery right here. It's worth 3 victory points at the end of the game. And if I spend the 1 glass, the 3 bricks, and the 2 wood in order to build it, anytime I want, I can essentially discard a pond from my estate, and in exchange get 1 water and 1 meat. So essentially I'm taking the water from that little pond, and I'm getting the fish meat from the fish that live in that pond. And I can create more ponds later in different parts of my estate. There are other actions that let me do that. And so I can essentially create more and then use more, create more and then use more. And that lets me just generate those 2 types of resources anytime I want. As long as I have the pond available to me, I can convert it using the trout fishery. And that tile, as you'll note in the upper right corner, gives you 3 victory points at the end of the game. So just by building it, I'm getting some victory points. The solo game is a little interesting. Normally you're playing multiple players, and so you have people that you're putting your worker out here to go do something, and then I'm putting my worker out to go do something, and it's kind of competing interests. You're building your glass stuff, I'm building my glass stuff. In this case, I still have to manage some of that quote unquote competition, but it's really light, and all it really means is that if I let's say I start by going here in this location, right? And I can zoom in and kind of show that a little closer. So let's say I'm here and I'm doing something over there. If I, in my next turn, decide to come here, then I have to spend 1 resource because I already have a worker in that town. So I have to spend 1 resource of my choosing in order to go there, because I'm kind of crowding out the tradespeople in that town. That's thematically what's kind of happening. Or in the case of a multiplayer game, I have to pay that resource to the other player. I think it's the other player. I could have to just discard it. I'm not quite sure, but because I don't play it multiplayer, I only play it solo. But in any case, I have to spend that resource, whether it goes somewhere else or not. Now, if I instead decide I want to go here, so I'm not crowding out this town, I'm over here in this other town, I at least have to pay the travel cost. So this is a provision. And this is a sign that reminds me that in order to go from here to here, the distance between the pawn that I just placed and the new pawn that I'm now placing is 1 travel provision. So I have to spend at least the travel provision to go over here. So in short, either I'm spending 1 basic resource to crowd out this town, or I'm spending 1 travel provision to go here, to go to this other town. And that, the difference, I'm making both of them. They both become available to me. I still have resources to spend, but I'm going to be basically making a decision. How many travel resources do I have? How many provisions do I have available? How much travel can I get done this turn? Versus how many spare resources do I have? Maybe I just want to spend time in the same town and just keep spending resources to go there. That gets expensive too. So I kind of have to figure out this mixture of what I want to do. So now let's say that oh, and I should mention, I will mention this. anytime you place your worker in a town, you're placing them between two different tradespeople. And so that means I have a choice to make. I put my worker down here and I can either hire this one or this one. So I can go here and make one of the two choices. Now, if I want to eventually do both, I could come here on a second turn after, it would be a different worker. I could come here on a different turn, pay the extra resource because I'm, again, crowding out the town, but then I could use the second person and still be able to get it done. But it would take two workers because every place you go, you have two choices to make on either side of the worker that you placed. Let's see. So I'm either traveling and paying provisions, or I'm paying basic resources to go to the same town. Those are the two things. I can travel multiple steps. So let's say I was here, like I talked about, and for my next trick, I want to come up here to this town, right? Well, it's one provision to get to this town and one provision to get to this town. So I'm literally just leaping around. So I'd pay two provisions to make that move. Can totally do it. Can totally do it. It's just more provisions to consider. Now, let's talk about one of the things that is the hallmark of both Glass Road and now Black Forest, and that is the resource management. Now, normally in these kinds of games, you either have a pile of resources of different, wooden chits that you've amassed for whatever the resource is. But in this game, there's a lot of resources, a lot of different kinds. Like there's water and there's coal, and I believe that is sand. That could be sand. I'll double check that. Glass. That's what you're actually producing. Glass, wood, and here's our travel provisions. You'll notice I have two of them. We'll get into that. We'll get into this in a minute. I can spend this to move one particular type of merchant around. This is like food. What's the name of that? Porridge? Porridge. Yeah. This is porridge. This is meat. And here's coal again. So I have coal on both of these dials. So what's really interesting about this is the key to this whole engine is that it handles the goods conversion for you automatically. Now, how does it do that? Well, it's pretty close to magic, but at the end of the day, here's how this works. Let's say that I do take an action and it produces me one porridge. Well, if you look in the center of the wheel, it says 0 porridge. I don't have any. So I would take an action. Let me see if I can find one where there is porridge. Yeah, I could go there and use that. But regardless, let's just say I took an action and it let me produce porridge. This porridge would go from 0 to the next section, which would be 1, right? The moment I do that, what I am looking for is I am looking for this space on this side of the arm of this wheel to be empty, and this space on this side of the wheel to be empty. So because this space is already empty and this space is already empty, this wheel would automatically, by the very nature of me moving that porridge, would automatically move one step. And when that happens, I produce more travel provisions. I reduce the amount of meat and coal that I have. It happened automatically by me turning the wheel. But in result, I end up with porridge. So, and it gives you an example of how meat and coal are automatically reduced by 1 in order to produce the porridge. So we start the game here, so that's where we're going to start. But I wanted to kind of show that. Now, let's say for the sake of argument, the same thing applies over here. Oh, you can't see that, can you? Because I got double things going on. Let me move that out of the way. This whole time I've been talking, and you haven't been able to see a thing. So let me back that up. Let me show you porridge again. So here's porridge on this wheel. You'll notice there's 2 arms of this wheel. And if I take an action that lets me produce porridge, this is porridge, this is meat, this is coal, then if I produce one, see how it says 0 on this section? Porridge moves up 1 because I took an action that let me produce porridge. The moment that I did that, the wheel would automatically move 1 step because the wheel always turns this way, clockwise. And because the next space over is now empty and the other arm of this wheel has its next space is also empty, Because those two things are true, the wheel will automatically turn. And now we have consumed the one meat that I had available, and I have consumed one of the two coal that I had available, and in exchange, I have produced porridge. So it handles the goods conversion for you. And by the way, I've also produced more travel provisions at the same time. So we'll start the game back here, right? And so that's that. But if over here I look on this dial, this is more of the glass production wheel. So these are all the ingredients that required to make glass. We have sand, coal, water, and wood, right? You're going to burn the wood and coal and, smelt the sand and use water to make the glass. So same thing applies. Let's say right now I have 0 sand, so I can't make any glass. I don't have any sand. Can't make glass without sand. So I take an action, doesn't matter what it is, and the net result of that is I gain 1 sand. Well, this space is empty, this space is empty, therefore automatically I have what it takes to make glass. I make glass. That is a must thing. It happens all throughout the whole game. So I'm carefully balancing when I want my wheels to move. Because if I have the stuff to make it, it's gonna move. That's good and bad. So, but here's the notice. We started here, we've got the sand. I was on 0 for sand, but now that I have 1 sand, it goes, oh, you have sand, great. Move to here. Importantly, on the other side of the arm, I was on 0 glass, but as soon as I moved the bar, now I'm on 1 glass. So all of these resources went down by 1, and as a result, I produced 1 glass. And now I can spend that glass somewhere else to do something else in the game. So goods conversion happens automatically using this wheel system, this dual wheel system, which I find phenomenal. And because you don't have to manage it, you don't have to remember anything. All you have to remember is that the wheel will move if it can, every time. And then after that, the consequences are fewer raw material in exchange for more, for gaining the net result of that spend. So the glass or the travel provisions, right? So this wheel, managing the resources on this wheel is crucial. On these two wheels, I should say. So what are we building? What kinds of stuff are we building at the end of the day? There's a lot. I'm about to move the camera and show you. There's a lot you're going to be building. Don't worry too much about that. They are organized by type of material, and there are, so bricks, for example. They're the top line of this board that I'm about to show you has 3 different buildings I can build that all help produce bricks. Bricks, by the way, are this orange resource that's tracked on this leftmost bar right here. I start with 3, which is why it's on the 3 space. But every row of this grid of buildings all corresponds to a single type of resource. So the next one down is wood, and the next one down is sand, and so on. So it looks like a lot, but the other thing to understand is they are not randomized. They're not shuffled. Everything you see here is in the same exact spot every single time you play, which is unexpected. Usually you're like, oh, I want randomization because I want the game to be different. I want it to be different every time. This game doesn't do that. The difference comes in the distribution of the tradespeople on the board. So this view here, all these tiles, these are all randomized to a degree. Like every tile in the back has a certain type of tradesperson kind of guild crest. And there are a certain number of them, of these types scattered around. And there's different types of guild crests. So like this one has the mouse, right? So there's a certain number of mice ones, certain number of foxes, all scattered around. So there is distribution there to make sure that the types of them are evenly distributed, but exactly which one gets paired with another, that's random throughout every time you play the game. So the tradespeople introduce the randomization. The buildings you build are not random. They are, so in other words, the more you play, the more you get used to these buildings, you start to understand where you go to get what, and this becomes less daunting. So now that I've set that up, this is what I'm talking about. So this is one of 2 boards of buildings that you can build in this game. There's a lot there, but as I mentioned, you can build you'll notice it's all, like I said, it's all set up by type. So on the left, there's 3 different coal buildings, 3 different water buildings, 3 different porridge buildings, 3 different meat buildings, and so on, right? That makes it a little easier. I'm not trying to parse the whole board. I'm going, what am I trying to make? Oh, I'm trying to make sand. What do I want to look at? I'm going to look at these 3 buildings. That's it. And that's all you're doing. It just looks like a lot, but it's not. When during setup, it's actually super fast. You just look at the tile, look at the little number code in the corner, and put it on the right spot. Done. The second board I'm looking at, same exact deal, except this time I'm looking at buildings related to wild boar or pigs, right? And then cattle or sheep, or sorry, just cattle, livestock, really. And then these are related to the tiles, the irrigation systems, the clearing houses, laboring houses. These are like tiles that go on my player board. This is related to glass production, travel, the building of, or kind of expanding into new areas to get more raw resources. And then here, finally, this last one is just about victory points and stuff about the end of the game. And so one of the things you can build, you notice these tiles are super small, right? They fit on one little section of my farm board. Here's my farm board, just to give you an idea. I guess you could call it my glass production ranch or estate. So here's the state of my current estate. I've got 2 fields right now. I've got 2 ponds, and I've got 3 forested areas. These forested areas are big. They're double tiles, right? I've got a couple of empty fields with nothing on them. That's where I could ostensibly build buildings. So when I build a building, I would put it in one of these little rectangle spaces, at least initially. And if I can clear out some of these and make room for them, I can even deforest and get rid of that. But I then would give up the ability to have a wild boar on this space. So keep that in mind. But this is that state of flux where you're going to build buildings and put them out. Now, towards the end of the game, there are 4 large buildings. The other ones are tiny little buildings. They fit in one rectangle. There are large buildings. There's only 4 of them. And these are the 4 that came out randomly for this game. These are livestock farm, reservoir, the thermal baths, and an inn. They all are worth a lot more victory points than everything else. The lowest one is 5 victory points apiece. This one's worth 6, and this one was worth 10. But interestingly, this one, it requires a lot of resources to build it. It's the thermal baths. It's worth 10 victory points, which is huge, because I think the easy mode for the solo target is like 20. So like this is half your points if you can get this built. But it gives you no benefit at all. It's literally just a thermal bath. You cannot use it in the course of playing the game at all. These other ones have at least some amount of benefit to them, either at the end of the game or during the game, even in the case of this one. So we talked about these at a glance. The blue ones help with goods conversion. And they're anytime. If I want to convert a good, I can convert a good just by saying I'm going to use my cooperage to spend 2 wood and make 3 water, right? And that I can just do. I can just do that because I have that building built. The beige ones are immediate. I get that benefit for the act of building the building. I get those things. That's it. They don't have any lasting benefit. They don't have any ongoing anything. Just build a building, get those resources, point in time. That building now sits on your estate and doesn't do anything else for you. But it is worth victory points at the end of the game. The orange ones, there's only 3 on this board. Yeah, there's only 3. The orange ones are whenever a certain thing happens, you get X. So it's a triggerable building. It's triggered when a certain thing happens. Finally, on this board, the yellow ones, anytime you see yellow background, it's all about end of game scoring. So those are things that if these things are true at the end of the game, you earn this many points. And that's why you'll notice these large buildings, all 3 of the 4 of them have some amount of end game scoring benefit. So there you go. At the end of the day, all we're really doing is we are traversing the countryside, hiring tradespeople to help us build up our glass hut, glass production capabilities. and we're also fulfilling certain orders. As we play, orders will come out. They're jobs, and you can perform those jobs, essentially saying, I've got these resources. Rather than building buildings, I'm going to spend them on fulfilling an order. And if you do that, you get the benefits that are on that job tile. And there are different types of jobs depending on where we are, right? You can't really see it. There is a job in this corner down here, and I'll show it by moving it over. It's just easier. Can't you see that? Because I have it zoomed in pretty far. That's okay. What you can't also see is there is a road that heads off in this direction. It lets me get to a job tile way up in the corner over here. And I will again kind of show that job tile a little bit easier. I just figured it was better to zoom in a little closer and let you have a chance of seeing everything than to worry about the stuff that's on the fringes. The game is played over 5 years, by the way, so this is going to be an evolution of our glass production over 5 years, 5 rounds. During that time, each round I will play 5 workers. And one of them is allowed to coexist in a town without spending the extra resource. So I get to choose when to use him every round. But doing jobs is an interesting way because you get victory points for them. They do come out periodically throughout the game. Oh, and there's one other thing. On the 4th year, all the tradespeople move around. So this distribution of tradespeople gets shuffled. And that last 5th year is kind of this amalgam because you're not quite sure who's going to be placed next to who. So just as you've gotten used to everything, everybody moves around. That's okay. It's actually it's not as disruptive as it sounds. It just kind of introduces a little bit of variability for that final round. So I think let's get into it. I've blathered on way long enough. I think we'll pick up the rest as we go. So for my first round, what do I want to do? Well, as we mentioned, if I want to produce glass super early, I'm going to pop back to the main view here. If I want to produce glass super early, I could focus on just getting a little bit of sand. And that might be the way to go. And when I look on the board, there is a tradesperson out here who produces sand, 1 sand for every pond you have. It doesn't say you have to discard that because it's not a red background. The red background means I have to spend that resource. It just says if you have a pond, you can get 1 sand if you hire this person to do that for you. That might be an interesting place to go. I could instead, if I went here, I could spend the 3 bricks that I have to get an early leg up on expanding my domain. I could go here and say, spend 3 bricks to enhance my glass hut, essentially, my property a little bit. I'm going to start building towards expanding to a different area. And what happens when I do that is there's this little glass bead on my little estate board here. It's currently at the bottom, but if I went to that location, I would go up 2. And every time I go to the 4th spot, I get to expand and add a board. So I'd be 1 step away at that point to expanding my estate and making it bigger. But as it is, I'm here. So I could instead, in this location, get 1 cow. I have the ability to store 2 cows in my estate from the very beginning. Those are useful for producing meat and other things. So that's not a bad thing either. So this is a nice place to think about starting. There's a lot going on here where I could benefit without having to move around and spend provisions. I started the game with 3 provisions, so I could travel 3 spaces before having to stop and make more. But I just need to make porridge for that. So here's the thing. Let's say I want porridge because I want to create more travel provisions. Over here at this place, for every cow that I have, I get 1 porridge. I don't have to slaughter the cow. I just get the porridge because I have the cows. I don't have cows right now or livestock. So instead, what I could do for my first trick, let's just say, is I could go here. If I go here, then I would choose to hire her and get 1 livestock. Wonderful. Second turn, go here. I spend one travel provision in order to make that move from here to there. And when I do, I can then hire her. I have one cow, and therefore I can create one porridge. That would take my travel provisions. I would have spent one. So I would have gone from 3 to 2. And then I would have gone from, what would it be? I would double my travel provisions if I did that. Because I would spend this from 2 to 1, right? And then when I move this wheel, everything in this column, which is currently at a 1, would convert to a 2. So these 2 provisions would now suddenly be each worth 2. So I would go from 2 to 4 if I did that move. I'm just kind of giving you an example of what I would do. So if I wanted to come back though in my third action and do something else over here, I'd have to pay that travel provision again because I'm currently in this town. So I don't want to move over here if I don't have to. Not until I'm ready anyway. So let's take them back and decide what we want to actually do. That doesn't sound like a bad idea because we could get some sand, make some glass. Let's take a look at the buildings just for a second and see what would be beneficial for us to make. I like anytime conversions. I have a lot of different options to make them. Everything in the rightmost column requires at least 2 glass to make it. The middle column requires 1 glass. And the leftmost column requires no glass at all. So they're cheaper to make. But you'll notice they're not as good. They get better and more useful the further right you go. So they're harder to make, but they're much more functionally valuable. Well, let me look around for a second here. What do I want to do? I do like the idea of making a clay pit because it lets you convert 2 water into 3 bricks, but water is not the easiest thing to get in this game. So there's a tenement building, 2 meat for 2 bricks and 2 wood. Not a bad deal. The kiln gives you 3 bricks for 2 coal. That is interesting. 1 meat to 2. Oh, hello. Hey, listen. I am listening. So I'm trying to decide like which path I want to go down here. Part of me just thinks I should not worry about it yet. I should produce glass because I know I'm going to need glass to produce almost all of these buildings. So I think maybe it makes sense to just not worry about it for right now. Just start making basic resources. Start making glass. Make sure you're still maintaining travel provisions, and just let the game unfold a little bit. Because I need to also learn how these distribution of tradespeople in these little towns are going to work together. So, because it's shuffled up every round, every game you play, it's shuffled up a little bit. So I have to kind of get a feel for things. What is that? Who is that guy? The tradespeople. What color is he? He is an owl. The owl is you may construct 1 building or gain 1 glass hut. Progress step, page 8. Is it just pay your thing? Construct a building. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Okay, that's what I thought. All right, well, so if I want to build a building, I need to go to a location that has a build the building capability. So they're carpenters, they're builders, they can all build buildings. So I can't just decide to build a building. I have to go and spend an action to do it somewhere. Well, let's produce some glass. Let's go with that. I like our initial thought. So let's go here. Get to go there for free because there's no other workers on the board. And that gives me a livestock because I'm going to hire this person here. I put this moo cow on my property. You can't see that, so I'll go there. So I have decided to go here, and then that I hired her. She then created a moo cow, which I then put in my little moo cow pen on my property. I now have one. Hooray. Okay, so for my second trick, I'm going to pay one resource of any kind. I guess I'll use wood because I have the most of it. And I know that because I'm looking here and the section has the 3 next to it. So I have 3 wood on me right now. So I think I'm going to spend 1 wood, and that lets me go to this town again. So I'm going to spend my second worker, and we're going to go here. Is that where I want to go? Yeah, I'll go here. And I'm going to hire this person here. Now this is for every 1 pond that I have on my property, which I have 2 at the start of the game, I create 2 sand. So let's look at this. We go back to my wheel, right? I have 2 ponds, so therefore I'm about to produce 2 sand. So let's talk about how that works. Here's my sand. Right now I have no sand. And as I talked about during setup, anytime this wheel can move, it will. If it's obstructed by anything, it won't move. But if both sides of the wheel, this arm and this arm, are both unobstructed, it must move immediately. It will automatically produce for you when that happens. So let's see what happens. Here's my sand. I'm currently at 0. Well, I just hired her to make some sand for me, so she's going to do that. So here I'm going to make 2 sand because I have 2 ponds. It's going to go up 2. 1, 2, right? Now I have 2 sand because I'm in the 2 area. Well, this wheel can now move. This is empty. That's empty. There's nothing keeping the wheel from moving, so it moves automatically. Everything that was in this column went from 2 down to 1. I spent a wood, a water, and a sand, and a coal, because that was in the 1 spot, to produce 1 glass. That's why the glass is now in 1 where it was in 0. So automatically the wheel used all the resources to produce the glass. But there you go. I produced 1 glass. I still have 1 sand left over. Well, that's not too bad. But now I can build a building that requires 1 glass. That just opened up an entire column of buildings for me. Just taking that one action. Okay, so what do I want to do? Oh, well, I don't want to stay in this town because I don't want to keep spending basic resources. So I think it's time to move. Let's move over here. Let's take a worker, and this time, what do I want to do? I don't have any more coal. That would be nice to produce one more time. But I don't really have the wood. All right, well, let's produce the porridge first. So we're gonna travel here. Yeah, we're gonna travel here. So I'm gonna hire one of these 2 people, or I'm gonna hire this person here. She says, well, because you have 1 livestock, I'm gonna give you 1 porridge. Okay, well, in order to travel here, I have to spend 1 travel provision because I moved from this town to this town. So on my resource wheels, again, I have 1 provision marker in the 2 space and 1 provision marker in the 1 space. Well, I'm going to choose to spend 1 provision from the 2 space. So I'm going to take it from 2 to 1. So now I have 2 markers in the 1 spot. And so that was the first thing I did, is I spent the 1 provision to make the move, and then I hired this person. This person's going to give me 1 porridge because I have 1 livestock, so the porridge then goes up by 1. What does that happens? Well, the wheel is now unencumbered on both sides of the arms. Therefore, the wheel must move. Boop, 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 boop. Now, everything, this was in the one column. These were both in a one section. Now they're in a two section. So I produced porridge, and I doubled my movement provisions. Not bad. But I spent a meat to do it because I had a meat in this column before and it went down to 0. I also spent a coal because I had to cook the porridge. That's okay. I think that was a worthy trade-off. I basically used some food resources and some cooking resources to make more travel provisions. Not bad. Okay. I spent 1, gained 2. Not bad. Okay. Now, where do I want to go from here? I'm currently in this town. Could get more water. I can get 2 water by going here and hiring this person. Well, you can't see that because I'm focused in. So what do I want to do? Here is where I'm at. I could get more coal, but if I do that, I'm going to bring my wood down to 0. I could move. I could come up to this town. I could go to the slaughterhouse and slaughter my livestock and get 3 more meat. Could build a building, though it's a little early to do that. Could spend 2 of my provisions and move 2 locations. Let me think here. Do I want to do that? Would like to get a boar. So I could move 2 provisions. And move over here and get a boar. The reason why, the long-term reason why I want to get a boar is, let's take a look at the board here for a second. Up here is, well, for one, they help me produce meat. They also help me produce wood and so on. So there's reasons to do it. But also, I could spend a porridge and a water and get 1 of each and then double up. That's a cool thing to do. But that's just increasing the number of livestock that I have, both pigs and livestock. So that would set me up for food for a while. So that's an option. But let's see, if I have a lot of food, I can produce, is that porridge? No, that's sand. Interesting. I can trade meat for sand. I could trade meat for bricks and lumber. Okay. Can I produce water? I can. My cooperage produces water. Trades wood for water. So if I have a meat production situation happening where I take meat and I produce bricks and wood, and then I use the wood to then create water, that's helpful. But I also need other resources. So no one building is going to be a magic bullet. They're all going to be a part to the puzzle. The whole goal is to build more buildings that help you get more done. So, I could deforest to get some wood that way. And maybe that's a good thing to do. I want coal, though, and I get coal from down here. That's a bummer. That's a long way to go. I think I'm going to stay here. Is that what I want to do? If I stay here, I got to pay a basic resource, which is kind of a bummer. I'd rather not. Tough call. Now that's a thought. I could move here and just get a new field. It doesn't cost me anything. Just get a field. That's what's on this tile. So that's an example of what we're looking at here, right? So I have two choices when I go here. It's either spend one wood to get another, like an animal pen, basically, or just get a field. So I think I'm going to take the field, and here's why. One town over from there is this fine fellow, who, if for per field you have, get one porridge. I would then have 3 fields. I start with 2, but I would have 3. So one action would get me 3 porridge. Every time I go here, I would get 3 porridge. That's feeling pretty good. I can go, and this also lets me fish too, right? For every 2, 4, or 6 ponds I have, gain 1, 2, or 3 meat. Well, I like that. So let's spend 1 travel provision. Will I? Is that what I want to do? Yeah, why not? Yeah. Okay, we'll spend 1 travel provision and we'll come here. So we'll go down on this one. Can't really see that. That's fine. And now that I'm here, I will just hire this person to build one field. So we'll come here and we'll put a field, let's say, we'll put it here. That gives me a little bit of flexibility. Okay, so now I have 3 fields on my estate. Okay, now for my last trick, the white worker can go in an existing town with other people in it without costing an extra resource. So I'm kind of tempted to do that again. Instead of putting it here, maybe I put it here and then do it again a second time. I could, let me go back out to the board view. I could put my white worker here and go hire this person a second time and get a 4th field. Now, I think I'm going to do that. It doesn't cost me an extra resources because I'm still in that town and I'm using the white worker, which means I don't have to spend an additional resource to go to a town where I'm already at. So I'm going to take advantage of that fact and kind of double my fields in 1 round. So that's pretty good. Okay. Okay, so a little bit of a prep turn at the end there. That's all right. Taking back the workers. Advancing the clock to the next year. So now we're at the 2nd year. Okay. Is there any other end of year steps I need to worry about? Let me double check. Don't think so. End of game and scoring. Yeah. Yep. Round ends, advance cuckoo clock, take back your pawns, go again. All right, I'll do it. Sure. All right. Just making sure I didn't miss anything. Okay, so the white worker again. I can use the white worker at any point. I just chose to use them at the end so I had flexibility. But so let's go create some more porridge for our first stop. So we're going to take our first worker and we're going to go here. And And we're going to use that guy to say per field, create one porridge. So I have 4 fields. I'm going to create 4 porridge. So there's the thing. So we have 1 porridge now. We're going to create 4 porridge. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're at 5 porridge total. Wheels don't move because coal, I don't have any coal, so I can't produce. At least not yet. I don't have any coal, so I could deforest, stay in town and deforest, or I could go get a boar. I like that. Yeah, let's go get a boar. So we're going to move over here. You can't see that, can you? So I moved over here. I moved to this next town. So I'm going to spend another travel provision. I have done that. And I'm going to get 1 boar. So on my estate, I can choose which forested area to put our boar. I think I'm going to pick this one. So now we have a little boar running around that forested area. And if I had coal, I do have 1 coal. So I could spend the 1 coal to get 4 more bricks. I'm at 3 now. That would put me at 7. That wouldn't suck. That wouldn't suck. But I'd have to spend a provision to do it unless I use the white worker. That might be worth it. That might be worth it. Oh, wait. I moved sand in that porridge. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have 1 sand. Porridge is over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. That's correct. I did that incorrect before. I think I will. I think I'm going to spend the 1 coal I have. I'm going to use the white worker, and I'm going to come up here. And I'm going to spend the 1 coal I have. I'm going to take this coal from the 1 zone down to the 0 zone. And in exchange, I'm going to produce 4 bricks. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I have 7 bricks. That's useful because a lot of these buildings require a lot of brick. 3, 4 brick, sometimes 6 even. So that's pretty nice. I could, if I produce 1 more, glass, I would have enough brick to build a lot of things. Okay. Well, we're on our way. I think we need to produce some more coal here soon, though. And I need to figure out a meat thing, or I'm never going to be able to produce more more travel provisions. So I'm going to run out of those in a minute. I have 2 left, so I have to be careful there. Well, what do I want to do? Where do I want to go? I'm currently up here. I have 2 left. Porridge. No, wait, I have porridge. I have plenty of that. I need meat and I need coal in order to produce more travel provisions. Is the only way to get meat. No, because I could go fishing. I could go 1 travel. I have 2 ponds. 2 ponds would gain me only 1 meat. So that's not a lot. I would like to build more ponds as well. I have 1 space left before I have to clear. I need more wood as well. So I could move over there and get some wood. And then, yeah, correct. No, they're not. Yeah, they're not nutritionally equivalent either. Let's see. Yeah, I definitely think I want to do the fishing route. So let's see if we can't create a pond. Oh, we can create a pond, 1 brick for 1 pond down here. Eee, that's interesting. Is that the only way to produce ponds right now? It might be. Can we step down there? I have 2 workers, so I could step down there, get 1 more livestock along the way. Would be a bad idea. Because then I wouldn't have to pay an additional resource. So yeah, let's do that. We're up here. We're now going to go 1 travel. So we're going to spend 1 travel provision. We're now down to 0 there. All right, well, before I do that, hold on. Go back to there. We're back to the whole I need travel provisions problem. So, well, okay. The start of the next year, I'll be able to start in any village I want without having to pay the travel costs. So maybe I use that to my advantage. I come here, I get another livestock for 1 travel provision. I come here for my last travel provision, and I convert 1 of my wood into coal. That's half the battle. And then at the start of the next year, I can come up here, maybe get meat that way. Oh no, I could start here at the beginning of the next year, spend a brick to create a pond, and then work my way up. Let me think here. I could build a building maybe by then. 4 ponds. I need to build 2 ponds? Oof. Brutal. To make fishing worth it, I need to have 4 ponds in order to produce 2 meat. That's not very efficient. But it is useful because I wouldn't have to be constantly getting and slaughtering livestock in order to constantly be producing meat. I think instead we should get coal, because if we get coal, I'll produce 1 more glass, and that opens up a lot of what we can build. So I think I can get coal down here. So yeah, I think we're gonna stick kind of close to our original plan. We're gonna move down here, spend 1 travel provision to get 1 more livestock. Now I'm maxed out. I have both spots of livestock full on my property. Can't get any more unless I build more pens. That's okay. That's a problem for a future year. We're going to spend our last travel provision. Now we're at 0. Can't move anymore to get to this town. And for our last trick, we are going to spend 1 wood, and we're going to get 4 coal. 1 wood, 4 coal. Okay. Wheel still can't turn. Got to get more wood for that. But we're in a better spot. It's pretty easy to make wood. That's the end of the year. Whew, 5 years is going to go by real fast at this rate. Okay. Now, top of the 3rd year. I don't think I'm playing this game correctly. But I'm sure it's part of what it feels like to play this game, is to not feel like you're actually playing it correctly at the first time. I need travel provisions, no doubt. So, oh wait, I got coal. I can split it, can't I? So I can put 2 coal here and 2 coal here. That's what I'll do. Yeah. So now I just need 2 meat. So I can I have 2 cows, 2 livestock. So I'm going to start up here. I'm going to visit the slaughterhouse, and we're going to spend one of our livestock and get 3 meat. 1, 2, 3. So that comes up to here. And because the wheel can turn 2 spaces, it will turn 2 spaces. Since it's clear on this side and it's clear on this side for 2 spaces. So it's going to move 1 step, and when it does, and I'll zoom in so you can see that, when the wheel passes this marker that was sitting right here, when it passes this marker the first time, then 3 jobs come out on the board. And so it's going to move 1 more time, but I'm going to add the jobs first. So let's first and foremost, let's look at what our first job is. Our first job is in this location on the board. I'll find it in a minute. And if I go to this location and I spend 7 bricks, I will get 3 coal, 3 meat, 3 water, 1 glass, and 2 fields. That's a lot. 7 glass is a lot to spend, but that is a lot. And I have 7 bricks right now. I was hoping to use them to build some buildings, but that's pretty hard to pass up. That's a pretty compelling deal. Okay, so we're going to look on the board here. You can't see it, but it's over here in this corner. It's over here in this corner here. So I'm going to stick it out so you can see it. That's the job. I'll put it even on the water. The worst part about that location, though, is that it's kind of a dead end. I have to spend a travel provision to get into this town and another travel provision to get out of it again later. So it doesn't just cost me 7 bricks. It cost me 7 bricks and 2 travel provisions. Little hidden travel cost there for that location. Okay, what's our next job? Next job looks like that. 5 water for 1 travel provision, and I can build a building for free. Any building I want. Huh. Okay. That location is kind of conveniently located in the middle of the board. It's right here. But again, that's another one in that location that is a 1 in, 1 out situation. I have to come in from this town, go to that location, and then come back out. So that's still another 2 travel provisions. The only better thing there is it's giving 1 of them back to me. So I'm really only spending 1. But I get to build a building for free, and some of those buildings are not cheap. So that could be quite lucrative to do that one, just for the mere fact that I get to build a building for free. But 5 water, that's a lot. I only have 2 ponds right now. I want to build more. Okay, third job. Third job. 5 meat gives me 5 wood, 5 porridge, 5 sand, 4 coal, and 3 travel provisions. Ooh, that's beefy. Beefy, see what I did there? Okay, where is the spot? I think it's up there. Oh, I get to choose. Really? Oh. I get to pick? Fancy. Where do I want it to be? Next round, all the workers are going to be, I'm going to put it over here, next to the slaughter. But next round, next year, all the workers are going to shuffle up. So, we'll see if that makes sense over there after the shuffle. But okay, so those are our 3 jobs. All right, so let's continue our move, right? So looking on the wheel, we moved 1 spot, we resolved the jobs coming out, and now we're going to finish the wheel move. Boom. So now I go from having no travel provisions to having 4 again, because these 2 were sitting in the same column. And so now they both turned into 4s. I do have this right here. That is called a commodity. I am not a commodity. Okay. Commodities are are a special resource because you can, where are you? Where are you? Commodities. You can, this part of your turn is optional. You may spend exactly one commodity to swap the tradesperson, which is called the traveling merchant. It's the one location on the board that looks different than everybody else. It's this one. I can move that with any other tradesperson. So I can swap it out for a different tradesperson. I can do that every turn if I want. If I have the commodities available to spend, I can do that. What's really handy is not that this space exists. I mean, this is a good space. I can get two of any resource I want by visiting this person. So that's a good place to visit anyway. But what's really nice is if I'm heading into a location and I want to have, and that location has the merchant in it, I can use that slot to put a tradesperson there from anywhere else on the board. I can basically transport a tradesperson into that town. But I have to have the commodities to do it. I have 3 commodities right now. And in fact, that and the fact that I have no more coal on the board are the only reasons why that wheel isn't moving again. So if I got more coal and used one commodity, I would add 2 more travel provisions. Interesting. Okay. All right. Where am I at? Well, I want to produce that gold or that glass. So I want more wood. Now I've refreshed my travel commodities, or my travel provisions rather. So that's good. So let's spend my next worker coming here. That's going to cost me 1 travel provision. And I will deforest this location on my estate. That goes away. And in exchange, I get 4 lumber. So I go from 0 here to 4, which now allows this wheel to move freely 1 step. So it will. I now have 2 glass, but I no longer have the amount of coal, water, and sand that I once did. So I spent those resources automatically, and now I have 2 glass. Very cool, though. Let's take another look. A lot of these locations require lumber, brick, and glass to build. So let's take another close look at these. I now qualify. I now have enough resources to build anything I want. I do have 1 coal even, so almost everything on the board, unless it requires water, everything on this board I can build. Got to be careful. I don't want to overspend all my resources, but I'm way up there. I don't have water to go there. At any time I want, I can convert a forested area into 3 lumber if I build the sawmill. Now, how do I get forested areas back again? I don't think I do. I think the only way to get them is to expand your board. So having a sawmill isn't all that valuable because you can't really reliably deforest. Because expanding means I have to spend a lot of time and energy going to the expansion area and essentially investing in my own property to try to pick up pick up stakes and move on to a different board. I'm going to have to do that eventually, but at least I think I will. But that's a lot to invest in it. I guess it would only really take 2 actions to do it. It would go over there and over there, and then I could go up 3 and I would get more wood. So, okay, fine, but I'm not going to do that very often. Trout fishery. I think trout fishery means I have to give up the pond, though, isn't it? Let's take a look. Trout fishery is 20 alpha. Yeah, trout fishery. Remove 1 pond. Yeah, so I don't really want to do that. That's not terribly sustainable either. I'd have to spend a lot more energy getting ponds back again. What to build? What to build? One wood and 1 meat equals 3 coal. That's not terribly expensive. The charcoal pile. 2 meat into 2 sand. That's weird. Or 1 meat into 2 sand, but okay. Strange. 2 coal into 3 bricks. Remove the coal marker from your glass making wheel. Wow. Potash manufacturer. Huh. That's not the one that I want to remove, though. I want to remove it from the other side so I can make porridge a lot easier. But, you know, not having to track coal on both wheels wouldn't suck. Let's look at the other board for a second. This is trading water for livestock. This is per field. Get 1 boar and or livestock, but it's only 1 time. Spend water to make a lake, or a pond rather. Bakery, spend water and a field to create 2 travel provisions anytime I want. Fields aren't terribly hard to make. I was able to do it just by going there. So that could be a pretty useful way to do it, but how to make water, because water is a tough thing to get in this. Well, build more ponds. That's the thing. So coming down here. I could come through this town, go 1, 2, come down here and spend some bricks for the ponds, which was always the plan. But I would also like to build. So I could build along the way. I could stop here, but then I'd have to spend a provision to do it. Trying to avoid having to spend resources to go to double up. And I could use the white worker, though. Now that I think about it, the white worker could go there and build a building and then move. Then I can move down from there for one more travel provision and build another pond. I need sand anyway, so I could carry on from there. But then I'm going to be down to 0 again on my travel provisions. So I'm trying not to get too crazy here in one round. I do have some lumber I can spend. I have 3 lumber. I'd like to try to keep some of that. So I could double up if I need to. There are certainly locations I'd like to visit. I need more coal again. I'm up there. So what if I instead went over here? I can get 2 of any resource I want, or I can exchange him for somebody that I want. Then it's 1 travel provision. I think that makes sense. So we're going to come here and we're going to exchange him for this merchant here. In fact, you can't see that. I've come over here to this location and I'm going to exchange the merchant. I'm going to spend a commodity and I'm going to exchange this merchant for this tradesperson. So the merchant's going to come down here and this tradesperson is going to magically appear in town, which is just wonderful for me. So I'm going to spend 1 commodity, which is right here. I actually needed to spend 1 anyway in order to get that clear. I had 3. I'd been racking them up, doing nothing but making provisions, and haven't been using it. Needed to anyway to continue to turn the wheel. And you'll notice on this wheel, just to make it clear, this right side wheel, I earn more victory points the more I can make this wheel turn before the end of the game. Right now, it's worth 3 victory points just where it's at. If I can get it to turn again, it'll be worth 4. Okay. So I've traded. Now I have this tradesperson available to me, which is exactly what I want. Now I'm going to spend a brick at this location to make a pond. So on my board, I'm going to take it down from 7 to 6. I spent a brick. And I'm going to take a pond and I'm going to stick it right here. I like that action so much, I'm going to use the white worker and I'm going to do it again. Pop, pop. I go from 6 down to 5. And I'm going to take another pond. We're there. I did not spend the travel provision, though, to move there, so I will. Okay. So now I'm going to spend 1 more travel provision. And come down here. So that comes to 0. And now it says per pond to get 1 sand. So I have 4 ponds. I'm going to get 4 sand. Okay, end of the round. Now, I'm going to pull my workers back. The top of the 4th round, everybody comes out. All the tradespeople come off the board. The jobs stay put, but all the tradespeople come off. I'll come back out to the wide view so you can see me do this. So all these tradespeople come off. I'm going to flip them over, flip them over, flip them over. I'm going to organize them by their guild crest. The guild crest art, by the way. Let me look at these. These are just stunning. I just love them. I don't know how many I can fit on 1 board. We'll go there. See if that fits. It may not. Up there, maybe? Yeah. I mean, come on. Like, beautiful. Okay. So, boop, boop, boop. Purple, purple, purple. Okay. So we got them sorted now. And so we're going to put these back out face down at first to not influence anything. If I've got a bunch, I'm just going to shuffle them up a little here. Okay. And we'll put these back out. Okay. Cool. All right, now that we've got them all populated by their crests face down, we're going to flip them. We're going to see who's where. Interesting. The slaughterhouse and the pond making guy are in one spot down here now. Okay. Ooh, right next door is the get meat for ponds scheme we've got going on down there. That's cool. All right. One wood. Okay. Interesting mix. The merchant ended up staying in the exact same spot. That's very, very interesting. Okay, so I have all my workers back. I can now choose to start anywhere. Well, let's take a hard look here. I need to get coal. Coal and water are a big need here. So water helps me out here. I can start there. What about coal? Coal is there. That's pretty convenient. I only have one travel provision left. Yikes. Coal is important. Yeah. So, well, we need travel provisions, no doubt. So I think we start here. We come here, we spend a wood. Wood goes from 3 to 2. We get 4 coal. We're going to go 1, 2. I already have 1 here, so we'll just go to 2 and then 3 there. So we'll have 3 coal on this side, 2 coal on this side. Okay. And then my second trick is I'll come over here and we'll spend the last remaining travel provision I have. Oh, wait, before I even did that, before I even took that turn, I got my coal moved. So this wheel immediately moves. Boom. Now I've got 3 travel provisions. Amazing. Come here, spend 1 travel provision to make that move. And now per pond I have gain 1 water. I have 4 ponds. I'm going to get 4 water. This wheel is now free to move 1 step because I have glass right here. So the wheel would normally be able to move more, but I have produced the maximum amount of glass. I have to spend that glass before that wheel will move any further. In a way, that's kind of good. I mean, I want to produce glass because I want to build these buildings. I need to build these buildings, and I need to build them soon because they're the only way I'm making victory points aside from this wheel. I don't have any other victory points to my name right now. So I've got to build something, and I've got to build it right away. I've got 2 travel provisions remaining. I'm here. Building buildings are way up there and there. I could trade though. I could swap a townsperson. Build some buildings. I only have 1 spot left to build buildings. Unless I deforest. I only have 1 wood left, so that wouldn't be a bad thing to deforest. But they're both in the same spot. Unless I come over there. I could travel, though. I was here, and then I moved here. I could move up there and then trade somebody. What would I trade for? Maybe just build a building for free, sort of situation. Not build a building for free, but no other cost. It's just this guy. I'm thinking about this guy over here. He just lets me build a building, no questions asked. I haven't looked at these missions either. Let's see. What would I trade for? I have porridge, one porridge left. And I have water, so I could get some more livestock, but that wouldn't help me. I want to build buildings. I think I have the resources to build buildings. I have glass. I have bricks. I do have one lumber left. So, okay. I think I know what I'll do. Okay. So I'm going to spend a worker to come up here. Spend a travel provision to do that. Swap this merchant for this deforester. Spending a commodity to do it. And then I'm going to deforest my last remaining forest that doesn't have anything on it. And in exchange, get 4 lumber. So I'm at 1, I go to 5. My last travel provision, yikes, I'm going to come up. Yeah, I'm going to come up here and we're going to build a building. Of what kind? I think we're going to build the cooperage. Let's take a look at the cooperage. So we're here, the cooperage is over here, and it produces water. So let's take a look at that. Cooperage looks like that. It's an anytime conversion tile. Anytime I have 2 wood, I can convert it into 3 water. In order to build it, it requires 2 glass, 2 bricks, and 1 wood. I have all of that. So let's get her built, shall we? Okay, I'm going to put that building right here. Do I want to do that, or do I want to contemplate building? I have 3 glass. I have 5 bricks. I have 5 wood. So that's worth 5 victory points just getting that built. I don't have any meat, so I can't build that building. Yeah, you know what? Let's build it anyway. I need to build it. It's worth 4 victory points. Okay, so on my player board, I've decided to put the cooperage right here. And now on my wheels to pay for it, it requires me to spend 2 glass, so 1, 2, 2 brick, 1, 2, and 1 wood, 1. I've built the cooperage. I've made 4 victory points, y'all. I may even make it to 10 victory points before the end of the game. I need to make 20 in order for the easiest victory. So there you go. But we'll see. I might be able to. I might still be able. Okay. So first of all, what do you see here? I spent some glass, so the wheel can now move. can move one step. I've now automatically created another glass. I've decreased all my other resources in order to make that glass, but I've done it. And if I make some more coal, I'll make another glass again, at which point I'll be back up to 3 again. And I'm telling you, that thermal bath for 10 victory points is starting to look really good this late in the game, and I don't really have a whole lot going on. And what I'm talking about this one right here. That's worth 10 victory points. And I don't think it's going to be too hard for me to do. I have 4 pawns, so I can sacrifice 2 of them. I don't have 3 coal yet, but I could do that. I have 3 wood right now. I won't by the time I get done making my 3rd glass, though. So I have to be careful, but I think I can manage to get this built by the end of the game. And if I can, we're going to be in good shape. Okay. Now, I have my white worker left. I could get 2 equal resources. I think I should. If I get 2 meat, I'll be able to make more travel provisions. And I need to, because I only have 1 left. It's the last worker of the second to the last round, and I need to be able to move around next round to be able to hopefully get that thermal bath made. I don't see how I'm going to get it done and also get 2 victory points some other way. But moving, if I do move this meat, I go up to 5. So 5 plus 4 plus 10 is 19. So all I really have to do is get this rightmost wheel to move twice and get this thermal bath built, and I will have made 20 points by the end of the game and maybe eke out an easy victory. Maybe. That's a lot to do with 5 workers. So let's do it, though. White worker comes here, gets 2 meat. 1, 2. Does not spend a travel provision to do it. Wheel turns 1 step. I now have 3 travel provisions. Okay. So in order to get this wheel to turn again, I need to make porridge somehow next round, and I need to spend a commodity to swap the traveling merchant 1 time. Not terrible, but I have to spend a worker to do that at some point. So, top of the round, 5th round. Here we go. Can I get it done? Wood and coal. So, need to make wood, need to make coal. I think I also could slaughter this guy, but why would I spend the time to do it? I think I can deforest even while he's got something on him. I just lose the pig that's on him if I do that. Let's see. Removing land, no, can't do that. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, I gotta think that that's the case. If I deforest, then my furry little children are very excited. My partner has just come home. Okay, I'm going to go ahead because I can't find it easily. I think if I just deforest with a pig on it, I'll just lose the pig, which would suck, but it might be the thing to do. I'm trying to do this in as few workers as possible, right? I need, here's why I'm worrying about wood. As soon as I make coal, I'm going to lose 1 wood. I need 3 wood, and I'm currently at 3 wood. So I really only need 1. That's interesting. I only need 1 wood. But what's it worth? What's it worth? Interesting. I could get a, oh, all right. Let's take a look at this. I have 1 forested location left, right? So I could spend, let me come back out here. I could spend my last forested location, get 1 wood, which I need, and build a building. So I think I worry about making coal, and then I visit this location. Because everything else I'll have. So let's do that. Let's start by making coal. Is the only way to get coal to make. Ooh, yeah, that's interesting. I might have to do it with 3 because I don't know how else to make coal. I could spend commodities to trade people around. So I'm thinking what we'll do, we'll come here, is maybe come there, get porridge, get 4 porridge for the 4 fields that I have. That would, I need to do that because I need to swap the merchant 1 more time as well to get 1 more point. Now we talked about that a little bit ago. So I need to get porridge, but I could then use the white worker in this location to spend 1 wood to make 4 coal. And then I need to build. I could come 1 step and build here after that. But I have the coal and I would need forest first because I need to make more wood than that. I need to deforest. I'm just debating. Okay, all right. I think this works. We're going to try it. For the first step, we're going to spend 1 of our wood. Now I have 2 wood. I'm going to move this coal. I get 4 coal. So 1, 2. 1, 2. I think. Yeah. So that produces. You can't see that. So this I went from here to here after I made the coal. So that produces the 3 glass that I need. I now have 1 wood. I need 2 more wood. So now I come here with the white worker. Main board. Come here with the white worker to take this action. I have 4 fields, so I get 4 porridge. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now, the next time I swap the merchant, I will produce more travel provisions. That's needed to get the one extra victory point that I need in order to eke out my easy victory. I have 3 workers left. Okay. So now I'm going to move here for 1 travel provision. And I'm going to swap the merchant. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to swap the merchant for this, for the slaughterhouse. I don't need the slaughterhouse right now. Merchant comes in. I now use the merchant for 2 wood. 1, 2. Now I come here and I spend a raw resource of any kind. I'm going to spend one of my porridges. I think that's considered a raw resource. Is that right? Pretty sure. Pretty basic resource. Basic resource, porridge. Spend one of my 4 porridge. Oh, and by the way, I spent the commodity to do that. Therefore, it moves the wheel 1 step as expected. I spent that porridge to go to this location because I'm in town with another meeple that isn't a white meeple. And so I'm going to use this location to build. Ooh, but I can't, can I? Hold on, porridge goes up to 3. I can't because I spent coal. Oh no, I have the coal. I have the coal? Oh no, I have the coal. Okay, so I will do that. I will go here. I'm going to spend the 2 coal from here and the 1 coal from here. That's 3 coal. I'm going to spend the 3 wood down to 0. I'm going to remove 2 pawns from my estate, which I have done, which you can't see, but that's okay. And I'm going to spend the 3 glass down to 0. And in exchange, I will have built the thermal baths for 10 victory points. So I have 1 worker left, and I have made 10 victory points from that, 4 victory points from the cooperage, and this dial earns me 6 victory points. So I have eked out 20 points with a worker left, 1 worker left. Now let's take a close look at our victory conditions to see what we gain for end of game scoring. End of game points. Yeah. 1 point per glass. Well, I'm not going to be able to build glass with 1 worker. So that's no good. 1 point in the cooking wheel, which I have done. 2 points per small estate. I don't have any small estates. 1 point per livestock on a pasture. That's 1. Okay. So I would have gotten 1 point for that 1 cow left. Oh, I deforested, didn't I? I did. So this guy's not here anymore. I forgot to remove him. Okay. Just kidding. X points for your buildings. Okay. Okay, let's see. I think I'm at 21 points. I think I will be. But, so, my last action, I have, what? 3 bricks left. Can I build anything? Anything? I doubt it. I'm pretty low on resources right now. I don't have any wood left. I do have travel provisions. I could come, let's come back up here. I could come here. Oh, but I don't have any more to free forest. I don't have a forest to remove. So I can't spend that. I'm trying to figure out how to build. Do I have any other build options? I could go 1, 2 and just build a building. I do have the room if I can just figure out what to build. I don't have any lumber, and I can't get lumber because I've deforested everything. Unless, oh, and my pig's gone. Bummer. Is there any other way to get lumber right now? Don't think so. I just don't think I can do. I could get one more livestock. It would give me an extra point. Yeah, I'll just do that the easy way. I'll come here. I'll spend, it doesn't matter, I'll spend a porridge to go to that location because I'm in a town with other people. And even if I had to spend 2, it doesn't matter because I don't know the rules. But let's go ahead and say because there's 2 meeples there, I have to spend 2 porridge. That's fine. I'll get that last livestock. So now I'm full up on livestock, which is worth a point. So I think that's 22 points. So let's look at it. End of the game. It's going to be pretty quick. There's not much to score. 1 point per glass. I don't have any glass because I spent it. I have 6 points on my cooking wheel, so that's 6. I don't have any small estates. I have 1 point per livestock. That's 8 points total. My buildings, I have 14 points. That's 22 points. I don't have any end of game buildings, and therefore I have 22 points for a easy solo mode victory by the skin of my teeth. But I made it work. So Glass Road is a game of inches, and it's a game of just constantly revolving resource conversion, trying to eke out every little thing you can at all the right times, and moving tradespeople around and moving yourself around and crowding out other people in towns. I mean, it's chewy, it's crunchy. It's not that crunchy. It's just harder than it looks. I managed to get 2 buildings built the whole game, right? It's possible. You just have to wrap your brain around how it all works. But I do love it. I love the theme. I had a great time playing it. I highly recommend it. I will be streaming Glass Road at some point to give you an idea of the difference. I think if I had to pick one of the 2, it's hard to say. I might say that I like Glass Road more, but I'm going to reserve that. Let's play Glass Road sometime within the next few weeks so that you can understand the feeling. There's going to be a lot similar, but there's going to be a lot different. The card play in Glass Road, for one, this is all done by tiles in Black Forest, what you see today, but Glass Road is mostly cards, and the variability from that is just delightful, but it's just a different beast with a different puzzle, but you accomplish the same things. You are still making glass in an old world Germany, but just a different takes. Also by Uwe Rosenberg, though, so I'll be interested to see. This just felt very difficult. It felt challenging to get stuff done. Glass Road, I think I felt more enabled, more empowered. But like I said, I think we'll call it there. I'm happy that I eked out a victory for you on stream. Somehow managed to make that happen. And thank you for joining me here at the table. We'll see you next week for another board game. Take care.